Welcome to Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad we're all here together. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button below to receive updates and notifications. Today we're joined by Kenny Mammarella de Cruz, who will lead us in meditation. And then we have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we open it up for sharing. We end at 10:45. Over to you, Kenny.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to lead this one. Quite a long one, and for me, a very important one right now, because I feel like I have been, and I am surrounded by a lot of fear, feelings of being out of control, and not really knowing how to manage and navigate all of this. So here we go with right teaching and right learning. A good teacher clarifies his own ideas and strengthens them by teaching them. Teacher and pupil are alike in the learning process. They're in the same order of learning, and unless they share their lessons, conviction will be lacking. A good teacher must believe in the ideas he teaches, but he must meet another condition. He must believe in the students to whom he offers the ideas. Many stand guard over their ideas because they want to protect their thought systems as they are, and learning means change. Change is always fearful to the separated because they cannot conceive of it as a move towards healing the separation. They always perceive it as a move towards further separation because the separation was their first experience of change. You believe that if you allow no change to enter into your ego, you will find peace. This profound confusion is possible only if you maintain that the same thought system can stand on two foundations. Nothing can reach spirit from the ego, and nothing can reach the ego from spirit. Spirit can neither strengthen the ego nor reduce the conflict within it. The ego is a contradiction. Yourself and God's self are in opposition. They are opposed in source, in direction, and in outcome. They are fundamentally I can never do this word, irreconcilable, because spirit cannot perceive and the ego cannot know. They are therefore not in communication and can never be in communication. Nevertheless, the ego can learn, even though its maker can be misguided. He cannot, however, make the totally lifeless out of the life given. Spirit need not be taught, but the ego must be. Learning is ultimately perceived as frightening because it leads to the relinquishment, not the destruction of the ego, to the light of spirit. This is the change the ego must fear because it does not share my clarity, my charity. My lesson was like yours, and because I learnt it, I can teach it. I will never attack your ego, but I'm trying to teach you how it is through system, how its thought system arose. When I remind you of your true creation, your ego cannot but respond with fear. Teaching and learning are your greatest strengths now because they enable you to change your mind and help others to change theirs. Refusing to change your mind will not prove that the separation has not occurred. The dreamer who doubts the reality of his dream while he is still dreaming is not really healing his split mind. You dream of a separated ego and believe in a world that rests upon it. This is very real to you. You cannot undo it by not changing your mind about it. If you are willing to renounce the role of guardian of your thought system and open it to me, I will correct it very gently and lead you back to God. Every good teacher hopes to give his students so much of his own learning that they will one day no longer need him. This is the one true goal of the teacher. It is impossible to convince the ego of this because it goes against all of its own laws. But remember that laws are set up to protect the continuity of the system in which the lawmaker believes. It is natural for the ego to try to protect itself once you have made it, but it is not natural for you to want to obey its laws unless you believe them. The ego cannot make this choice because of the nature of its origin. You can, because of the nature of yours. Egos can clash in any situation, but spirit cannot clash at all. If you perceive a teacher as merely a larger ego, you will be afraid, because to enlarge an ego would be to increase anxiety about separation. I will teach with you and live with you if you will think with me, but my goal will always be to absolve you finally from the need for a teacher. This is the opposite of the ego-orientated teacher's goal. He's concerned with the effect of his ego on other egos, and therefore interprets their interaction as a means of ego preservation. I would not be able to devote myself to teaching if I believed this, and you will not be a devoted teacher as long as you believe it. I'm constantly being perceived as a teacher, either to be exalted or rejected, but I do not accept either perception for myself. Your worth is not established by teaching or learning. Your worth is established by God. As long as you dispute this, everything you do will be fearful, particularly any situation that lends itself to the belief in superiority and inferiority. Teachers must be patient and repeat their lessons until they are learned. I'm willing to do this because I have no right to set your learning limits for you. Again, nothing you do or think or wish or make is necessary to establish your worth. This point is not debatable, except in delusions. Your ego is never at stake because God did not create it. Your spirit is never at stake because He did. Any confusion on this point is delusional, and no form of devotion is possible as long as this delusion lasts. The ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. You who made it cannot trust it because in your right mind, you realize it is not real. The only sane solution is not to try to change reality, which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. You are part of reality, which stands unchanged beyond the reach of your ego, but within easy reach of spirit. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are His beloved Son, in whom He is well pleased. Do not let your ego dispute this, because the ego cannot know what is as far as beyond its reach as you are. God is not the author of fear. You are. You have chosen to create unlike Him and have therefore made fear for yourself. You are not at peace because you are not fulfilling your function. God gave you a very lofty function that you are not meeting. Your ego has chosen to be afraid instead of meeting it. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this because it is literally incredible. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase its believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable. The word inevitable is fearful to the ego, but joyous to the spirit. God is inevitable, and you cannot avoid him any more than he can avoid you. The ego is afraid of the spirit's joy, because once you have experienced it, you will withdraw all protection from the ego and become totally without investment in fear. Your investment is great now because fear is a witness to the separation, and your ego rejoices when you witness to it. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it and do not preserve it. Listen only to God, who is as incapable of deception as is the spirit he created. Release yourself and release others. Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, and do not accept such a picture of them yourself. The ego has built a shabby and unsheltering home for you because it cannot build otherwise. Do not try to make this impoverished house stand. Its weakness is your strength. Only God could make a home that is worthy of his creations, who have chosen to leave it empty by their own dispossession. Yet his home will stand forever and is ready for you when you choose to enter it. Of this you can be wholly certain. God is as incapable of creating the perishable as the ego is of making the eternal. Of your ego, you can do nothing to save yourself or others, but of your spirit, you can do everything for the salvation of both. Humility is a lesson for the ego, not for the spirit. Spirit is beyond humility because it recognizes its radiance and gladly sheds its light everywhere. The meek shall inherit the earth because their egos are humble, and this gives them truer perception. The kingdom of heaven is the spirit's right, whose beauty and dignity are far beyond doubt, beyond perception, and stand forever as the mark of the love of God for his creations, who are wholly worthy of him and only of him. Nothing else is sufficiently worthy to be a gift for a creation of God himself. I will substitute for your ego if you wish, but never for your spirit. A father can safely leave a child with an elder brother who has shown himself responsible, but this involves no confusion about the child's origin. The brother can protect the child's body and his ego, but he does not confuse himself with the father because he does this. I can be entrusted with your body and your ego only because this enables you not to be concerned with them and lets me teach you their unimportance. I could not understand their importance to you if I had not once been tempted to believe in them myself. Let us undertake to learn this lesson together so we can be free of them together. I need devoted teachers who share my aim of healing the mind. Spirit is far beyond the need of your protection or mine. Remember this. In this world, you need not have tribulation because I have overcome the world. That is why you should be of good cheer.
Open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 10 minutes left for sharing. If you'd like to share, raise your hand and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. Linda.
I came on a bit later, well, just as it was starting, and I didn't know where Kenny had got the his reading from, because it was quite amazing. I was absolutely just what I needed today. So I just wondered if you could tell me where you got the reading from, Kenny.
Yeah, it's right teaching, right learning. And it's chapter 4, the illusions of the ego. And when I found it, or it found me for today, I know it from before, but I just saw it new for where I am now.
Yeah. So chapter 4 in
the text.
Lovely. I feel as though I'd never heard it before.
That's how it was for me.
And it sounded so easy to listen to and take in. And in the meditation, it was so light. All the things that I've got going on in my life at the moment is really one thing after another, really. Yeah. But the light, now I'm talking about light is as in, light, but the light of my mind, it was absolutely amazing. I'm so just thrilled to hear it. It put a lightness on my heaviness at the moment. Yeah.
I'm so chuffed to hear it. And for me, it was a long one to choose. It was a quick one to read. And I thought, oh my God, am I going to go too quick and lose people? And it was really paced. And I love at the end, that's why you should be of good cheer.
That's right. It was, I was just thrilled with it. So
yeah.
Thank you so much, Kenny.
Absolute pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
I felt quite dodgy reading it because it was as if it came from me. It was I. Meanwhile, it's like, it's not me.
I did have to tune in and realized it was Jesus.
Mm.
And I was with Jesus. It was amazing. I've never heard it like it before, ever. So
It's like this, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank you for letting me join. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would like to share? Norman.
Yes, thank you very much. It just reminds me of myself, really, again. If I make the ego real, I'm beat. And for a long time, I wondered what let go, let God meant. And let go now really means let go. I get involved with ego thinking, I know immediately that's an ego thought. And I tend to get involved and wrapped up in it. And if I do that, I'm lost. And if I try and fight it myself, I say, why is this ego thought? Oh, that's an ego thought. Why has it come? Why won't it stop altogether? But I realize what let go, let God really means. Just, okay, it's an ego thought. I'm not going to fight it. And just let it be what it is. And that is the only way that it took a long time. That is the only way that I could treat it, is just ignore it. And then, it says, forgive yourself. I'm like, now how can I forgive something that's not real? And that's just the way to treat it. It's not real. It's easy. It's nothing. I can forgive nothing. But if I make it real and then try and forgive it and beat again, so it sounds complicated, but it's not really, and it's nice just to be reminded, if I make anything real that isn't real, I'm going to hide into nothing. But if I know that what I'm listening to means nothing, then I'm back on track again. I'm not sure if that makes too much sense, but
Crystal clear to me.
I'm very grateful that just clarifies what let go means. Just let everything go, and God will look after the rest.
And with this in the past, I would be feeding it by trying to let it go, giving it energy, and letting it grow. And in the silence, I remembered how I was brought up with fear and good ex-Catholic boy shame and guilt. It's a lot to unlearn. It's a lot to undo. It was a lot of fear to unlearn all of that, the basic foundation. And in the silence, I listened in my mind to the phrase that crossed my mind was living through a lens of love. And listening to the fear, but maybe turning the volume right down, because some of it might need updating. Some of it might just need to be heard so it can pass. But if I fight it, then I'm feeding it. So for me, I guess I've found for myself practical ways to include it and turn the volume down, because some of it might be useful information and some of it might be my inner Engelbert Humperdinck saying, here it is, please release me, let me go. And that's the fear in the old stuff that wants to go so the love can flow. And what might be can show up for me to notice and move into guidance. I hope that made sense.
Yes, thank you very much. And another thing that happened, I've got a bit of a cold and I coughed up some phlegm, and I just had to jump up and get rid of it. And I sat down again, and then a short time later I had to get up and cough some more up. And it just reminded me, it was like an analogy. If I swallow it down myself, it'll get worse and eventually it'll all come up. But if I get rid of it straight away, then that's okay. I've got rid of it. So that in itself was a wee lesson. But thanks a million.
I'm so chuffed you spotted that. It's in every moment. It's like I feel if I'm present, I'll notice the guidance. If I'm in my fearful, fixing mind, it can shout at me, it can throw me all sorts of stuff, but no, too busy trying to be in control and survive it. Good on you, Norman. Thank you.
Who'd like to share? Evelyn, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Kenny. That was a lovely reading and beautifully timed. And it kind of
answers all questions. It's sort of there are no questions after that. There are none. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Thank you, Kenny, and take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Kenny.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank Kenny.
Pleasure,
Kenny.
Kenny.
Thank you.
That
Good
was
to hang out with you all. Look at this.
Thank you so
Half
much.
flying all over the
Thanks,
place.
everyone.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.